I think what's really interesting right at the moment, the recent developments have been that the most recent forecasts of economic growth and job creation in the world have been revised downwards. The International Monetary Fund and the World Bank are all pointing very, very clearly to the fact that the situation is worse than perhaps we previously thought, and the prospects for the future are bad. And I think to some extent that's leading to a rethink of the right policies to put in place for the crisis. So we've heard Madame Lagarde say that countries need more time on austerity, that the multipliers of austerity policies, that is to say their effect on actually destroying jobs or reducing growth, are much more potent than we'd previously believed. Time for a rethink. Now, in the light of the slowdown that's becoming more and more evident, in the light of this apparent rethink, not just by the ILO, but by international organizations more widely, what we're trying to say is, look, when the leaders met in Mexico of the G20 recently, they said, if things get worse, we have to act together to have a new look at how to stimulate growth and jobs. Now's the moment for that rethink to take place, because self-evidently things are getting worse. So we're pointing to 4 areas in particular where we think things could be done. Firstly, we think that money can be put into infrastructural investment. That has 2 good effects. It creates jobs itself, and it also creates the conditions for future growth. Good infrastructure is good for economic growth. We need to look again at how to unblock credit lines. There are many small and medium-sized enterprises, job creators, which are simply not able to move forward, not because they're not viable, but because they've got no credit. So those lines have to be opened up by credit guarantees by governments and other measures. Has to be done. The 3rd area is social protection. You know, the ILO is a big advocate for social protection floors. We've got enormous international support for that. Now's the time to invest in those social protection floors. They protect people from the worst impact of the crisis, but they also put stabilizers into the economy to help us bounce from the bottom back up again. And lastly, and perhaps most importantly of all, we have to move on youth unemployment. We can't simply drift on the way we're going. The ILO is right up front saying, let's together internationally make a new start on getting young people into work. It's vital. In Los Cabos, the G20, number of the G20 countries said, if things get worse, we're going to come back and look at what extra measures we can take to get jobs going, to get growth going. So, a few months later, self-evidently, things have got worse. So it's time actually to live up to that commitment, to go back and look again. So we need to act together to get the economy growing again and to have jobs created. If things get worse and if the world economy starts to slow down, we need to look again at the policies that we're adopting and redirect them towards growth and job creation. Well, it's obvious that that situation that they thought could happen, things getting slower, that's happening now, and so we have to go back and look.